All right, we're recording. Welcome to Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider Free Zoom. I'm out here with the horses today. Yay! With a bunch of my friends. And we are going to talk about what can you learn from a horse. And I had no idea what we were talking about or what we were going to talk about. And just to warn you, there might be little interruptions here and there because these guys like to chew on everything, including cords. I didn't know where my earbuds were. So Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider is a specialty class of Access Consciousness. And it is my favorite class in Access Consciousness, my favorite class in the world. It's not even a class, it's a set of tools that you can use with horses, but you can also use in your life to shift and change anything, especially right now since the world is going crazy with coronavirus and the unknown and just so many mental things going on for everyone, which is awesome because with horses, if you're not interesting point of view about everything, you can start to you might have run into what I would call problems if you're not aware and if you're not interesting point of view. So when we first got here, when I first pulled up, we were bringing the stallions into a different pen to clean out their pen. But right now it's springtime and they thought that that meant, oh, you're going to bring us over to the ladies to go breed. And who's going to get to go first? And we need to act tough and show off so that they'll pick me. So they were kicking each other and going insane. And it was making all of the humans like, what's going on? And not a lot of us were being completely interesting point of view with everything, which was making them, horses can pick up on every single point of view, your whole reality. They can just pick it up and perceive it within seconds. And so we were just helping them get crazier and crazier by not being interesting point of view. We aligned and agreed with, this is Red, she's amazing. We aligned and agreed with their reality of, we need to show off and everything needs to be crazy now. And it's time to breed, which wasn't a great idea. After a little while, I was like, oh, what is my point of view right now? And am I being interesting point of view? No. So we lowered our barriers. We got to be interesting point of view. And we got to allow them to calm down, which they didn't calm down right away, but they definitely quit hurting each other. And now they're very calm over there, just drinking and eating all of their food. So let's see, where do you guys want to start? If you could have anything out of this Zoom, what would it be? And what questions do you have about horses? Or life in general that horses can help you out with? Silence. Or I can just keep talking too.
I have a newbie question.
Yay, what's that?
So I don't have a lot of experience with horses, but I just feel that it's very easy sometimes to go into fear for some reason. When I'm even on it, on the horse, or it comes towards me, there's this beyond that I go into, like, oh, there's some fear there.
Yeah. Do you notice that happen any other time in your life or any other areas?
Dogs, maybe?
Dogs. So fun. So horses, they are just them, and a horse never lies. They're so cute. And they will just be them, and they'll be the energy of them no matter what. So if you're not totally being you, if you're being someone else's reality, it will start to melt that away, or you'll start to see the different places where you're not totally being you. So fear is such a cool thing to have come up, because what if fear is never, ever, ever, ever real? And fear is always hiding a potency and a capacity that you have. Underneath that fear, there's always like a possibility that you just haven't been willing to be or know. So if it wasn't fear, what would it be? And what?
Fun.
Fun? Cool. Yeah. So how much fun could you be having that you haven't been willing before? And so it's like, if you were to go, sometimes I will be around the horses one day and all these weird things will show up and I'll like have the worst day ever and it won't feel good. And I'm like, what happened? But I'll come the next day and all of that stuff is gone and something new will show up and something fun. And it's like, wow, this is funny. I feel so distracted right now. So we're just going to do a little pod and pocking really quick. The access clearing statement is something that we use in the class, and it's from Access Consciousness. You can find out more about it at theclearingstatement.com, because there is just the funniest energies right now. So all of the energies that are up right now and everything not allowing this to be more fun than we ever could have imagined, can you uncreate and destroy all of that times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And everything, it's almost like there's a barrier to what you know is possible. Like all the barriers that we have to what we know is possible and the fun and joy that we could be having, except we shouldn't go there yet because we're not allowed or nobody else is doing it. Can you uncreate and destroy all of that times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, beyonds. Cool. Hi, Simone. Were you waving at me or someone else? I'll pretend like you were waving at me. Awesome. So, and everything that makes any of this serious, how much of the serious are we all aware of that's going on in the world right now? And what can the horses show you about that you haven't been willing to know, be, perceive, or receive? Everything that is, can you uncreate and destroy it times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So horses, it's so fun coming out here. I've been coming out here every day because my business here in Denver had to be shut down until the end of next month. There's no flights. We probably have to move the class in Germany. And I'm like, this is funny. Everything's shutting down. I should just give up. I should become hopeless. I should align and agree with everyone's points of view about how dimsel everything is or how hopeless everything is. But I come out here and I'm like, okay, guys, horses, what do you think about everything? And they're like, what? We're not really thinking. Horses don't really think. They just be and play and shift and change whatever energies come up for them. So oftentimes horses are like, right now, they're just really interested in food. They're like, what? We're just gonna eat. Or they'll be off sleeping, but I'm like, what are you guys doing over there? And they just kind of like close their eyes and rest. And I perceive that they are really receiving and communing with the earth and the planet. And it's like, what if we could just have total ease with all of the crap that's up for everyone right now? They also like to fight over some of the food sometimes. So hopefully no one will kick anybody in front of the camera, or they can, or maybe they'll go to the bathroom. So what else could you guys learn from a horse, or what questions do you have?
Hi, Alison.
Hi.
So I never went to a conscious horse, conscious rider class before. What's going on there?
So thank you for asking. I'm like, what do we talk about? I am so distracted. In a conscious horse, conscious rider class, so every single class is different. And people come, horses come for all different kinds of reasons. So one of the first things we talk about in the class is getting rid of fear or overcoming your fear of horses or anything that shows up. She's like, yes. And that can be like, God, so Ava was just talking about how sometimes when she's on a horse or she even has a horse come up to her, this strange fear starts to show up. And we do that with a lot of things that could be fun for us. Like if we want to choose something out of the box or something, who's like, keep scratching. Or if we want to choose something beyond the normal of what we usually choose, like fear, quote unquote, fear will begin to show up to keep us from choosing beyond what we're used to. And so horses, they basically just facilitate 24/7, and they're just interested in what else, what's next, what else is possible, how can we change this, I'd like to change this. And so they will invite you to new possibilities of what else is actually true and possible for you, and also for them. So it's not, this class isn't just about people or you getting better, it also facilitates them and invites them to new possibilities that they didn't even know were possible either. So that's one thing with the fear stuff. Fear with horses, also fear deals with fear of creating anything in your life that you didn't think you could create before. In class, we also work with bodies, and there's body processes, there's access consciousness body processes that we use with the horses. You learn how to communicate with their bodies and your body to get to start to see what every body is asking for and what different energies are required, either to allow the horses to heal themselves, allow the horses to facilitate you in healing yourself, just create greater ease with their bodies or your bodies. And you can't actually work with a horse and play with a horse or have ease with a horse if you're not simultaneously gifting of you and receiving at the same time. So a lot of times people think that the world is just about giving something and taking something, or if I give you something, you owe me, or if someone gives you something, you owe them. That's not really how the world of horses works. And when you get rid of that point of view, your whole reality and how you function in the world changes, and things become easier, and there's so much more gratitude just for being alive. And so that's one thing that often shows up in classes, is this sense of gratitude and peace and adventure that you can't really get anywhere else. And it's really hard for people to even put into words what changes, because it's not like a, hello horse, please tell me exactly how this works. It's a communication which doesn't often include words. It's an energetic exchange, and it's an undefinable experience. So if you go to the Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider website, which is conscioushorse.consciousrider.com, there's three things that we, kind of like the basic three things we talk about in the class are leadership, trust, and presence. Usually most people go around not trusting others, not trusting themselves, not trusting themselves or others to choose something new. And a horse they have so much patience, and they are so willing, someone's on my butt, this is Sherry. They are so willing to contribute to you in what you're asking for if you actually have the courage to ask for something. They're so willing to facilitate that for and with you, and they're also asking for new things too. A lot of people talk about, like in the horse world, sometimes horses don't trust people, or they come to conclusions, or they're a bad horse. But it's just that not a lot of people are willing to be in the question of what the horse is actually asking for, or your business. So this can, your business, your relationships, money, everything. you can basically exchange a horse for anything you're trying to change. So if you're not listening, if you take business, for example, if you're not listening to what your business is actually asking for or willing to contribute to you, you can't really receive it. And if you're not willing to be that question also, and that ask, you can't receive it either. You can't receive anything that you're not willing to be. So there's a little girl out here, Bella. I think she's hidden. She's like right here. She's the little black butt horse right there. For the last 3 or 4 times that we were out here, that I was out here, it was time to start training her to put a halter on, and she was not having it. She was scared to have people touch her face. She was scared of the halter. She would just sprint away. And so every day we would just bring the halter out. We would kind of rub her face. She got used to us rubbing her face. And then she got used to the halter being around. And it wasn't until yesterday, after the maybe 5th day, we just allowed her to do whatever she was going to do, just be with it with no agenda. Yesterday, I walked up to her, I put the halter around her neck lightly, and she just stood there. She's never just stood there before. I was just being space, and I asked, like, okay, what question could I be right now that would allow a totally different possibility here? And she just stood there, and I was like, so can I just put this on you? And she was like, yeah. And she just let me slide the halter on with no problem. She didn't move or flinch or even move her head. I just slid the halter on, clipped it, and then she was good to go. And she walked away and ate food and drank water, just like she had that thing on her head every single day. And people were watching that work here, or usually work with horses, and they were like, wow, I've never seen that before. Usually we have to like lasso them, and it's a little bit more of a significant deal than just being with the horse and sliding the halter on for the very first time in her life. But that's one of the cool things about this class is it gives you a set of tools and questions that you can use to shift and change anything that most people would think are impossible. You almost, I looked like a horse whisperer yesterday, which I am, but before this class, I would never have thought that I was someone who, I didn't know much about horses before I became a facilitator. I didn't grow up with horses. I wasn't a horse trainer, but I come here all the time, and I'm able to contribute an energy that, there's Steve. I'm able to do things out here that nobody else has ever seen before, which is super, super fun and different. We're going to do some more halter training today in the background. He's super cool. So there's the trust thing. Trust with you, trust with other things, allowing things to contribute to you. And if other things are willing, horses, businesses, relationships, allowing them to have trust in you. Presence is another thing we talk about in these classes. You have to be super present. Like a horse actually invites you to be present in every moment that you're around them. And so if you think about your life right now, are you totally present every moment of every day? Or do you find yourself checking out? Are you even willing to be aware of here she goes. She's like, this is her first time. She's like, I'm not sure. Are you even willing? Are there some things you just don't want to deal with? And you keep pushing those out into the back burner. And you just don't want to deal with some things. Well, with a horse, they're going to invite you to deal with everything all the time, every moment you're with them. He's so sweet. Yeah. And that also shifts and changes every area of your life. If there's anything you don't want to deal with, the horses will show you an energy that you will have forever. The things that change in this class, like you have them forever. They can never go away. If you're willing to use them, if you're willing to allow that energy that they show you to contribute to every area of your life, you will never lose that, and life will never be the same. So let's see. There was presence. I'm distracted. Presence. Oh, and leadership. So we talk a lot about leadership in this class, and it's not like someone is the leader and they're always the leader. Everyone is good. Every horse and every person is completely different and has completely different points of view, completely different agendas, and those can change every day. So if you are going to be the leader of your own life, you have to be willing to stand up for yourself and also be there for everyone else when it's required. But by being there for yourself and choosing for you, and not letting anybody else's point of view distract you from what's true for you, then life again can show up in completely different ways, and you start to get what you ask for. So it's almost like being selfish. Like if you want to create a greater life, if you want to have a life of ease, if you want to have no problems when everybody else has problems, you have to be willing to be the leader of your own life and make choices for you, not based on aligning and agreeing with other people's points of view, but choosing what's fun, what's light, and what's going to generate the most for you. And so in class we do, there's a whole bunch of different exercises that we do and choose or work with. And some of those you get to get on the horse. Some of those you get to play with energy. You get to play with energy pulls. So you can see what the energy that your being is creating in the world, because the horses will show you. Either you might notice that you're pushing out. Don't eat my elbow. You might notice that you're pushing things away, or that nothing is even paying attention to you, even though you feel like you're being this really strong energy, but the horse will show you if you're being that or not. And it allows you to start playing with, Fred's like, get me on TV. It allows you to start playing with the energies that will invite things into your life and also move the things in your life in whichever direction you would like them to. So if you'd like to have more money, this is Opal. She is so sweet. I know, we'll get the camera back on you in a minute. If you would like to pull in, let's say, money, you get to get the energy of money in your life. And then we go through exercises. Hey, no, 1 second. We go through exercises to see which way that your point of view about money is actually going. So are you pushing money away from you? Are you inviting it in? Are you guiding it to where you would like it to go? Is the universe even paying attention to you? If you can't get the attention of a horse, or if you can't get a horse to be present with you, maybe you're not being everything you really be that will allow the universe, the world, money, business, relationships to even find you. So just with that exercise alone, oh my God. It is like priceless, I guess is a good word. It's priceless, the awarenesses and the possibilities that shows you. And then a billion other things in the class, like whatever you want to change, even if you're like, you don't know what you want to change, but this class just excites you, or you're curious, or you're scared of it. That's another good reason to come. This class, you can bring whatever questions or whatever you would like to change to the class. And the horses, like, one of their favorite things to do is facilitate you, and they want to see you get greater, and they also want to get greater too. So they invite you to see where you can be a contribution to everything and everybody else. And that's like, I can't even explain how that feels, and it never stops. Like, you just get to keep creating and choosing and playing with who you are, what you would like to create in the future, who and what you can contribute to, who's willing to receive it. And they'll show you all of that stuff. Everybody's finally ready to come be on the, we're more interesting than hay right now. That's a pretty good pull. That's a pretty good energy pull. So do you guys have any other questions? Or did you have questions?
There is a question from the German chat.
Sure.
So I will read it in German and Simone will translate it. I hope that's
Perfect.
okay. Was
Yeah.
kann ich tun, um es noch leichter zu empfangen, was mir die Pferde beitragen möchten?
So what can I do to have more ease to receive what the horses actually would like to contribute to me?
So that's a great question. The horses, I might ask that all day. They don't have a point of view about what you can receive or what you can't receive. They don't have an agenda of, you should receive this and this is what I want to gift to you. They actually wait until, like they're not going to contribute to you unless you ask a question. Unless you ask, hey, show me something I've never known before, or hey, can you guys show me the energy of abundance, or can you show me the energy of being a leader? Basically, I just come out here, I never know what's going to happen because they're different every single day. So I'll ask a question of them before I come out here, like, hey, can you show me the gift of me? And they will, in the weirdest ways ever, start to show me that, whether it's like I'll take someone out to the round pen and halfway through they just won't move. They will not go. They will stand there forever. They won't move their feet. And I'm like going into the wrongness of me, like, oh my God, this horse is going to stand here forever. I'm going to be late. I'm not a good horse person because this horse is not going anywhere. This was my favorite horse, but they're not doing what I wanted and they're embarrassing me. So they're not my favorite horse anymore. Like all these weird things will show up with horses, but they're actually just facilitating you until you ask a question and actually receive a different possibility. If you go into all of those conclusions of what the world is proving to you, you'll never get the gift of you and you'll never get the gift of question. So they are like, ask us anything. We want to contribute whatever you're asking for. Just like the universe. The universe is like, hey, I can't really contribute anything to you until you ask, until you are curious, until you want to create more. If you've already decided or have come to a conclusion anywhere in your life, you're never going to get more than that conclusion. So they invite you to become a question so that more things can come in and more gifts, possibilities that you didn't know existed before because you had all of those conclusions in there. So when I concluded like, hey, I'm a terrible person, I'm not a horse person, this isn't my favorite horse anymore, she must hate me, maybe she's not the horse for me, I was like, okay, those are all heavy and contract my universe, and they're all conclusions. They're not a question whatsoever. And so finally I was like, okay, what do I have to ask or acknowledge here that will shift all of this? And all of a sudden I just said, you're stubborn as a horse. I just acknowledged that she's stubborn as a horse, and she would just kind of like laughed, and then she started walking again. So sometimes you just need to acknowledge what is, and then it can start shifting the energy too. So does that help with the what can I receive?
Yeah, she said, wow, okay, da öffnet sich gerade der Raum. Shall I say it, Simone? She said, wow, okay, there's some space opening up for her.
Cool. It's so fun. You just get to play with it. Are there any other questions? I'm just checking the time because Dr. Dane here is coming on soon. We might have to get going pretty soon. You guys have any last questions for this little free Zoom here? You do. She's like, yes.
I'm so grateful that you went to the horses. That's such a contribution. So
totally. I'm so, oh, thank you for translating. Our beautiful translator, Simone Zucker. I should just say everything in my American accent so you can judge me correctly. Simone Zucker, thank you for translating. And yes, oh my gosh, they were like, you better come out here to do this because we would like to communicate whatever they're communicating to you right now. She's so sweet. Oh my goodness. She doesn't usually let people around her face. And right now she's just like, hi, I'm going to be in your face. So thank you guys for whatever you're being for these guys too, and all the horses around the world. Like, what can you receive from all the animals, the plants, the earth that you've never been willing to receive before? Cool. Thank you guys. So we have a
Thanks, Alison.
You're welcome. We have a class coming up in Germany in the Black Forest. In, how do you say it? Will?
Vil?
Vil. Vil. And it's supposed to be at the beginning of next month, but as we have no idea if the planes are gonna work or what's gonna happen in a month. We're actually gonna move that class further into the summer, and we will let you know. But I'm so excited for that class because horses, the Black Forest, Germany, it will be my first time, and just all of the entities and spirits of the earth that are in that particular part of the world are just such an invitation, and I can't wait to see what shows up.
Yeah, neither can we.
Yay!
Neither can I.
Yeah, well, me
And-
either.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so we're also gonna touch on the topic of entities and horses.
Yeah, and we can have another Zoom also just about that if we'd like, and I'll get the times correct next time.
Okay. Cool.
Cool.
Thank you.
You guys. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.